I would describe myself as primarily a storyteller, and I say that because I began first of all as a poet, and around about the same time I found that I was diversifying into other forms of literature. And one of the things that occurred to me when I was writing is that there are lots of different ways of bringing the magic of theatre alive. And of course I was beginning to become aware of technology and how it was becoming more and more featured in the theatrical world. And I had a story idea which suited this kind of residency perfectly. The last blues song, or Lost Afronaut, was in many ways for me a blue sky project. One which I thought I would eventually do. I kicked into the long grass, but was hoping that eventually there'd be time and space for me to be able to make it a reality. But what the residency has done for me was to make that a reality now. And I was introduced to a community of creatives who were able to give me their time, their skills, their expertise, to show me how I could not just make it happen, but to imagine broader and wider than I had initially envisaged. It began with an idea I had when I was programming a season of films exploring sci-fi, magical realism and so on, that have come together to form a genre which we call Afrofuturism. So my idea was of a space traveller, an Afronaut, who comes from a planet where all memories of Earth have been erased, and it's a sort of an African diaspora planet where cultures have come together to create something new. And they travel through space and time and come to a devastated planet, and what they uncover on the planet is the story of their own origin, a story that's been erased, a story that has been put to one side because the ancestors, the founders of this planet, have been keen to reset the button around black identity, black consciousness, to escape some of the problematics of identity on Earth that have in many ways created challenges to an African diaspora sense of moving forward progressively. Inspirations for me in terms of creative work is frustration, a sense that we're sort of locked in a kind of discourse that doesn't really move us forward. The binary of race, the binary of political ideologies that don't actually vision a new way of being in a different space. What's the narrative that creates a new kind of consciousness, an honest one, but gets us to a point where we can think differently about where we want to be? And I think without thinking about where we want to be and imagining that space, then in some ways we can sort of campaign, protest, bang our heads, and not know what it is we're trying to achieve. And I think that idea of a different space is integral to the vision of the work. During the residency, I experimented with different kinds of technology. So with shadow capture, that is where I got hold of a machete, various garden tools, and my infrared image was picked up. So basically a silhouette of me was created, which we used to project. I had a 3D animation created of our spaceship. We explored virtual reality, played around with a motion capture suit as a way of telling the story. And in the end, what I did was put these together into a trailer, a live trailer. So the different elements that I'd explored, the aesthetic that I'd been working on the project, in terms of costume ideas, in terms of the look of the planet ideas, which gave us the opportunity to test the technology that we'd experimented with, to test the idea and to create a buzz around the audience. What we want to do with the next step of this project is to turn it into a full immersive performance, where the whole narrative is presented, the aesthetic is presented, and some of the technology that we want to use to really bring forward the magic of this story, which again is suggestive of the future, suggestive of an Afro future, of our Earth in a decimated state.
Where am I? Where is this? Ring of roses, a pocket full of poses, a tissue, we all fall down.
We're in a certain time where I think vision is extremely important to know what it is that we want to achieve. I think there's a lot of ways in which we lose sight of what it is we're trying to gain. And so the vision for Afrofuturism for the last Blue Song is to dramatically deposit an alternative space, but throw into that what happens when we flip the idea of who is explorer, who is discovered, who is the discoverer, who is same and who is other.